Welcome back to some new r/PettyRevenge stories. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Forced Donations. Every year, the company I worked for has a huge fundraising campaign. They solicit from all employees to voluntarily contribute towards charities directly from their paycheck, pre-tax. You are encouraged and very heavily pressured to donate to pre-selected charities of their choice in smaller monthly amounts for the year or one lump sum. Think of lots of email reminders and signage all over company walls. Ploys of having your name entered for prize drawings. Didn't matter how much you contributed. All the prizes were always won by company executives and leadership. The company had running totals for departments of how many people were contributing. They wanted 100% participation from all departments. It was supposed to be private and anonymous and only show numbers. I quickly learned it wasn't as anonymous or voluntary as advertised. If one or two people were holding back, they were usually approached by the administrator and pressured to participate. What's really strange is the administrator of my department at the time, who was usually very stoic and stern, became giddy about the charity campaign. It was weird and raised alarms. One year I was struggling hard, so I wasn't going to contribute. I was so broke. But here comes the admin lady into the office suite. We are almost at 100% participation. She looks around and starts to question each person. She was eyeballing me the whole time, trying to subtly make her way to me. She gets to my desk. Have you made your contribution yet? Without thinking, should have just told her it was personal. I told her I was still considering which charity. She pulls her chair over to my desk with a sub-story from one of the charities and how the money helps those in need. She asked me to pull up the charity website and literally walked me through entering my contribution. So as a good little young naive worker, I did as I was being basically forced to do and contributed a minimal $24 per year and $2 a month donation on my measly salary. I made our department reach 100% participation. Who cares, right? The next year, I purposely waited until the last second to make my contribution, to see if I got the same one-on-one chat with the admin lady. Sure enough, here she comes, with the same sub-story she has memorized. Again, she would baby talk me through making my contribution while she watched. I soon became her target to get rid of. She was out for my job, so she separated me from people I got along well with, including my direct boss, and made me report directly to her. I knew I had to get out of that quickly or I'd lose my job. I applied for positions and wound up transferring to another department within a few weeks. It ended up being an amazing move and one of my favorite positions to date. In this new department, they organized and ran multiple company, city and county-wide events. One of the biggest being the charity campaign for the whole company. I brought up to my new co-workers how incredibly weird my previous admin lady was at that time of year. They said of course she wanted 100% participation. Admins get a bonus when their departments are 100% participating. You can bet that I started telling everyone in my previous department about that little tidbit. The next year, that department had one of the lowest participation efforts. Being that I was in a better place in life and actually liked my new department and leadership, I began willingly contributing, because the new admin would take that bonus and buy everyone lunch or some form of thanks. The next story is called Quieting the Neighbor. I live in an apartment block and have a very noisy neighbor living above me. Me and other residents have politely asked him to keep it down a number of times, but he continues to blast music into the early hours. Our bins are emptied once a week, and we have to bring them around the front of the building to be collected. But for the past few weeks, I've been taking his bin back in before it can be collected. It's now massively overflowing, and he left a note in the communal area, asking who's ever doing this to stop. So I anonymously left another note underneath, telling him that I will stop if he keeps the noise down. Sure enough, he's been very quiet lately. The third story is called Took His Wi-Fi. A few years ago, my girlfriend and I used to live in a small building with only a handful of apartments and a tiny garden we shared with the rest of the residents. My neighbor was this guy everyone hated, constantly blaring music, leaving trash in front of his door, loud drunken grill parties all weekend, every weekend, and ignoring all requests to keep it down, citing his rights to be loud. You know the one. Our window had a direct view to the garden where he hosted said grill parties, despite numerous requests to let other people use the space too. And one day I noticed he had a similar sound system to ours. It required no authentication for a Bluetooth connection, so I wrote a program that would connect to his speakers the moment he turned them on, and played the same 15 seconds of mind-numbing sounds on repeat. He kept taking the speakers to the service, which obviously didn't help, so he bought a newer set. His new sound system could connect to Wi-Fi. Since he made the mistake of loudly announcing his Wi-Fi passwords to his guests regularly, I connected to it, realized he never changed the default router password, and wrote another program that connected automatically and kept rotating his admin password. I even set up my old laptop to run this program continuously. It also kept streaming adult content to his TV at random intervals, printed a luscious pig whenever his printer came online, and either abruptly changed the volume of his speakers every 47 minutes or kept subtly increasing and decreasing it throughout several hours. I saw people from our ISP at his apartment several times trying to fix his network, to no avail. The moment they reset his Wi-Fi, my program was already there, changing the admin password. After about 3 months of this, they gave him a new router with a new password, which he never changed, and promptly announced to his friends the following weekend. Instead of his usual blaring music, we listened to him yell and smash kitchenware the last few weeks before he finally moved out. It was like music to our ears nonetheless. The next story is called Just a Bar Stool. This was back in 08 or 09. I was in Quito, Ecuador. I was staying at a hostel and was there for just over 3 weeks. Less than a block away there was an Irish pub. This pub has really good bar food that wasn't on the menu of a lot of other restaurants in the area. So because of that, it was a mixed crowd, popular with locals and backpackers. Because of the proximity to the hostel, I'm at the bar with some other guests from the hostel, and we are expecting a few more to join us. Next to me is a bar stool, and on the other side of the bar stool are 2 women talking. They are obviously friends. In Spanish, I asked the woman closest to me if she is using this empty chair, and if it is okay if I grab it. Spanish is not my first language, but I can still speak it clearly and confidently, and grew up speaking it since I was a kid. She says to me in Spanish, with a smirk on her face, that she does not understand me, and she does not speak English. I ask for the chair again in Spanish, while motioning to it, and she says again that she doesn't speak English. I ended up getting the chair from a high-top table that was behind us that no one was using. At this point, she turns to her friend, and I hear them mumble, "I don't know why he's talking to me. Hehehehe." And I hear them chuckling to themselves, assuming I was hitting on her, I guess, and she rejected me. Throughout the evening, I know she heard me conversing in Spanish with the bartender, so by this time, she knew I definitely spoke Spanish. The napkin dispenser is directly in front of me, and she asked me in Spanish if I could hand it to her. I looked at her confused, and I point to the napkin dispenser, then look back at her and lean in a little, as if I didn't hear what she said. She again says that she needs napkins, and if I can hand her the napkin dispenser, all in Spanish. I look at the dispenser and then at her, and very clearly I say, "I'm sorry, I don't speak English," in Spanish. She gave me a shocked face and turned bright red, and then I gave her the cold shoulder. "Don't flatter yourself, lady. I wasn't hitting on you. I just wanted the bar stool." The last story is called Street Parking. About 13 years ago, we had a new neighbor who had the attitude that what is his, and what is yours is his, especially parking on the road near the front of his house. The road was a short end and had public parking. The issue is our driveway was single wide and plenty long enough for our 2 cars. I sometimes parked 1 vehicle on the road during the day so that my wife and I could quickly get in and out without having to switch the cars around. The neighbor would come out and get in my face for parking on his property. Bylaw enforcement was a friend of his and would not do anything. This jerk was also claiming a back injury and claiming disability, yet he was perfectly capable of building a fence. large rock gardens, and a koi pond. Beside his garage, he was proudly growing some stuff at the back of his yard beside his garage and bragging about it. It was not visible from the road, but very visible from my yard. I patiently waited until the plants were quite large towards the end of the growing season. The next time he got in my face, I quietly called the authorities to report the grow-up, and that I was uncomfortable with his criminal activity. I went out for a short while and came back to several police cars in his driveway, and all his plants were ripped out as Exhibit A. He never got in my face again, and we ended up moving away for work shortly afterward. I heard he lost the house within the year and disappeared. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.